I smell a roast.
Does it smell like burning books?
Fahrenheit 451.
Did you
I'm
watch
paging
that?
Oh, it was terrible.
It was. Why did they mess
so
that up
sad.
so bad?
So sad. Michael B. Jordan, Michael Shannon, HBO. Why'd you
How
mess
did
it up
that
so
go
bad?
wrong?
Made me mad. Made me mad.
Dude, and I was so ready for it.
Yeah.
They should not have even released that.
Nope.
Oh my god.
Nope. Before we get into the roast, guys, I like to take this time to tell you one more time, share this feed if you're watching it live, and drop a comment in those comments, and we're going to pick one lucky comment after the show is over, and you're going to win this mug. It is the 2018 Valhalla Java mug. I love the lava sand glaze on this mug.
So good.
So rad. Dustin and myself will sign it. We'll send it right out to one lucky winner. It's that easy. All you got to do is share and comment. But let's get into this roast. This week, the final week of September, every single year since 1982, is a week called Banned Books Week.
So
And
wait, is it celebrating banned books?
No, it celebrates reading. And this is directly from their website. In fact, this will give you the insight of it, okay?
Okay.
I was going to give my own little spin to it, but I think this is very well written, and I wanted to read it right from their website. Banned Books Week is an annual event celebrating the freedom to read. Launched in 1982 in response to a sudden surge in the number of challenges to books in schools, bookstores, and libraries. It's typically held during the last week of September, and it highlights the value of free and open access to information. Banned Books Week brings together the entire book community, librarians, booksellers, publishers, journalists, teachers, and readers of all types in shared support of the freedom to seek and to express ideas, even those some consider unorthodox or unpopular. It's shit like this that just makes my blood boil, because we live in an age now where this shouldn't even be a thing. And it's constantly a thing. Every single year, new books are added to the list of books to be banned. And in some towns, some counties, these books are banned. There is a national list of books that are banned, which is even worse, but it's always dwindling thanks to people who advocate for Banned Books Week, and also thanks to the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, which helps get a lot of comics and graphic novels to not be banned when they are put up on that blog.
It blows my mind that this is even an issue.
Yeah.
We live in a country where it's free speech, and this is even a step below. This is written word. If you don't like it, shut the fucking book. It's
Correct.
that easy. Nobody's forcing you to read it. Nobody's forcing their ideals on you. It's in the simplest thing just to leave behind, but you have to push it on other people that they can't access that. It blows my fucking mind.
It blows mine too, and a lot of people don't even know that this is a thing. Yet, if you bring up some of the most famous examples, they do. I mean, Mark Twain has always been on that list ever since back in the day, because of books like Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, because of the things that it dealt racism and child sexuality and that kind of thing.
Whatever, to burn these things, or just to completely leave history behind and
Correct.
pretend that it didn't even exist, like an ostrich sticking his hand in the fucking sand.
Correct. So what I wanted to do on the roast is to educate all of us on some of the books that are banned on the list this year, because that's what Banned Books is all about, is to know what books are on the list and go out and read these books. Go seek these books out. Don't let them be banned.
That's crazy.
Read these books, because together, reading is knowledge, and knowledge is power, and power is excellent. So, I mean, let's all be excellent to each other.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bill and Ted. Come on.
Yep.
So some of these books are a book called George. This was written by Alex Gino, and it's actually written for elementary-age children. It's a Lambda Literary Award winner, and it's challenged. This is why it's challenged, because it includes a transgender child in the story arc.
First of all, if you have a problem with that, you're an asshole. Second of all, if you have a problem with that, don't read the book.
Yeah, don't read the book. You don't have to read the book. And
why is this an issue?
Sometimes there are issues because parents get on the horn, because maybe a teacher wants to use this as curriculum. So therefore, it's not somebody choosing to read the book or not. It's
That's fine. Talk to the school,
right?
If you have a problem with that, and deal with the school. Don't ban it for everybody.
Right. And so, I mean, that's unfortunate. Another children's book on the list this year is a book called Sex is a Funny Word. This is written by Corey Silverberg, illustrated by Fiona Smith. It's was written in 2015. It's an informational children's book, and it's written by a certified sex educator. And it was challenged because it addresses sex education and is believed to lead children to, quote, want to have sex or ask questions about sex. Now, this is a lot of that, what you find in the Bible Belt, of people, not wanting the younger generation to have sexual thoughts or think about sex.
But once again, separation of religion and state.
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
you should not push your religion on national law.
No, you should
That
not.
is fucking ridiculous. I'm gonna swear so much during
It's
this one.
okay. That's what the roast is all about. I like getting you pissed off.
Nothing pisses me off more than people trying to keep
Ignorance.
things away from other people due to ignorance.
Yeah.
It just blows my fucking mind. Jeff, go on.
One that's on the list this year, and it's constantly on the list, is the Pulitzer Prize winning novel by Harper Lee, To Kill a Mockingbird. And if you've never read this book, go out and get this book. It is in a lot of school curriculum.
Yeah, I read it in school.
Yeah, or it is just, one of those American classics that you really should read. And it's challenged and banned because of the violence that's portrayed in it and its use of the N-word. Lots and lots of books on the banned books list are put up to be banned because of the use of the N-word. Now, as unfortunate as racism and racial slurs are,
we need to know that it happened.
that's the thing. That's the unfortunate thing, is that it happened, but you can't change history by wiping it all away. Again, going back to our our Fahrenheit 451 argument, that is the basis of Fahrenheit 451. If you burn all the literature and all the books, then you have the narrative for the next generation that only this happened. You know what I mean? Like,
see, that's I guess that's my biggest problem with it all, is that there's somebody trying to control the narrative.
right.
But the narrative should be the absolute truth of what history went through. We need to know that there was horrible racism.
Right.
And that it was a common thing.
Right.
And just getting rid of it, we're going to repeat these mistakes.
And
We're going to forget why we ended up in this place to fucking begin with.
And it's also unfortunate because, the N-word in To Kill a Mockingbird isn't the central theme of it, and you're losing great literature just because of your racial inadequacy, your racist inadequacy.
I don't even think it should be censored.
Yeah. No, exactly not. Exactly not. Another one that's on the list this year is the book The Hate You Give, which is written by Angie Thomas. Actually, this was just made into a major motion picture. It's another thing about a lot of these banned books, which boggles my mind, is that people want to ban these from libraries and schools, yet many of them are movies that you can just consume no matter what.
Yeah.
So-
I think the best thing about these banned books is that when people ban them, they become even more popular
Right.
than they ever were.
This book is not only on the banned books list, but it has won multiple awards. It is the most searched for book on Goodreads. And in its debut year, this young adult novel was challenged and banned in school libraries and curriculum because it was considered pervasively vulgar and because of drug use, profanity, and offensive language. And again, that's just like,
What are we're supposed to pretend that these things don't happen in real life?
read the book, yo.
Yeah.
It boggles my mind. And this doesn't just go for books. Like I mentioned earlier, the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund champions for graphic novels and comics because those are constantly thrown on the banned books list as well. In fact, I wrote an article a couple of years ago for Graphic Novel Reporter about this next graphic novel, The Killing Joke. It's an Alan Moore story drawn by Brian Bolland, and it's very dark. It's the Joker basically kidnapping Barbara Gordon, who is Commissioner Gordon's daughter, and to get at him and Batman, and he basically rapes her, and photographs it and throws it in Commissioner Gordon's face, and Batman beats him within an instant of his life in this book, and it's a very dark story, but the Joker's a very dark villain, A, and B, this is comic books.
Yeah.
And it's a great story written by Alan Moore, and it's constantly on the block because they say that it advocates rape and violence, which is never the case, because if you're reading this and going, man, that Joker's a swell guy, maybe you should not be in society.
Yeah, seriously.
Because they're not writing it like that.
If people are being influenced by any of these things in a negative way, they have an issue to begin with.
Right.
And it's probably something that we should be looking at a deeper problem-solving thing that's going on here. It's not books, people.
It isn't.
It's people.
It's people. Another one that's a great graphic novel. It's actually 2 volumes of this called The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. It was a book first, and then he did it in a graphic novel. Absolutely wonderful. And it's challenged for violent imagery, successfully argued against, though, by the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund. So it was put on that chopping block and then completely taken off because people championed against it.
That's good, man. We need more people like that.
Yes, there's some violent stuff in there. It's about a kid who wanders into a graveyard and deals with ghosts and demons and stuff like that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're familiar with Neil Gaiman's work, it's very much that. But I mean, that's like, should we ban all of Stephen King's stuff because it's scary?
Dude,
like
Stephen, and on top of that, Stephen King gets very, very profane.
If you've ever read it, you know what we're talking about.
Dude, it gets, but it's not only in it; it's in a lot of his books.
It's in a lot of
even
his
in
books.
The Gunslinger, it gets gross sometimes.
Yeah.
But you know what? It makes it real.
Yeah,
it makes it very real because shit happens in real life. We can't always just pretend everything's fucking honky dory and ban books that aren't.
Exactly. And again, I'm bringing up a lot of these books because I'm hoping that you'll go, if they're books that you've never heard of, go seek them out. Read these books. Champion reading books that people don't want you to read because knowledge is power. Another one which always boggles my mind that it comes up on the list from time to time is A Light in the Attic, written by Shel Silverstein, same person who wrote Where the Sidewalk Ends. It's a collection of poems. And it's always challenged because it encourages children to be disobedient.
They should be.
Which is ridiculous because you know what? If they're taking their play from these whimsical and weird poetry by Shel Silverstein, then, geez, you're not being a very good parent then. If you're not saying don't do the things that you're reading in this.
If you're a parent trying to ban a book, you're the problem.
Yeah.
You're the fucking problem. The book isn't the problem.
Reasons for these next couple books include Violence, Insanity, and Profanity. Very, very famous books. Both have been turned into movies and television as well. First, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kesey, and the next being Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. And both of those widely celebrated by many literary circles and are constantly brought up on the banned books list because of those aforementioned reasons. Finally, one of the newest ones that's been on the list for a lot is, and that's because it deals with subverting religious undertones and magic and all that stuff, is the Harry Potter series. And people want that banned because they think that it is an attack on Christianity and Judaism, which is just dumb and stupid. It's a whimsical story about a young boy who finds out he's a wizard in a fantasy land, right? Like, that's all it is. Like, you shouldn't ban it because you have these weird religious, like, connotations, right, Dustin? Did you die?
I'm sorry. I was just boiling a bit. It just makes me, it makes me hate religion. Because if your religion is true and righteous, then there
should be room for everything.
You shouldn't be worried about banning books.
Yeah.
It's crazy that we're even still dealing with this. I know I keep on saying that, but listen, people, it's 2018. We're living in America. A lot of things are going to happen. You don't have a say in it one way or the fucking other. It's free.
Yeah.
It's great. We can do anything we want. I can say fuck you and you can't do anything about it. You probably could, but
show over. Seriously though, guys, every single year at the end of September is Banned Books Week. Get on it. Support your local libraries, support your local schools, and support reading in general. Reading is great. I always say I try to read a lot, and I always say I don't read enough, and I like that feeling that I'm not reading enough because it forces me to read more. Our good friend Brad Thibodeau, who runs our warehouse, he does this thing, which I really want to get into, where he has a list. Him and his girl, they come up with a reading list every single year, and it's usually like 50 or 70 books. like, and I think this year it's even more. I think it's like 100 books this year.
Wow.
And it's like all different, like, a book by an author you've never read, a book by an author that you have read, a children's book, a book in a different language that's been made into English, a book, like all these different caveats, and they try to tick it off as they go out throughout the year and see if they can make it through that list. But it's great because even if you don't make it through the whole list, you get to the end of the year and you're like, holy shit, I read 40 or 50 books or whatever, and I really want to get into that because reading's great.
I mean, I would chalk most of my intelligence gathering for the last 10 years from reading books.
Yeah.
I mean, straight up. And I just don't see how you're going to be able to access all that knowledge that's out there without breaking open a couple of pages and digging in and figuring couple things out, then doing it over and over and over again until that stuff is ingrained into your brain and you become a smarter person. That's the way it works.
Exactly. So read more, everybody. And let's all try to help Banned Books Week every single year by, just championing knowledge.
Agreed.
Awesome.